Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So before we get started, we need to do a little Starbucks appreciation post. Look how beautiful that is. It's Friday, I'm ready for the weekend, but I'm also ready to share with you everything that I read in November. So November was basically my Colleen Hoover month for some reason. I ended up reading 3 Colleen Hoover books and then one other book, and I have to say I was so impressed with Miss Colleen Hoover. I can officially say that I misjudged her because I read Ugly Love and It Ends With Us and I did not understand what the hype was about. I felt like Ugly Love was such a teeny bopper book and I liked It Ends With Us, but I still wasn't blown away like everybody else. I was actually blown away by 2 of the books that I read this month. The first one was Layla. Layla is the story about this girl named Layla, and Layla falls in love with this guy named Leeds, and they meet at a wedding. Leeds plays in a band, and Layla is dancing around like a fool at the wedding. They end up talking and having this instant connection and falling for each other almost instantly. Layla and Leeds are just head over heels in love with each other, and then one day Leeds posts a picture of them on Instagram, and his ex-girlfriend comes and shoots him and Layla. So Layla ends up in the hospital, and ever since she's gotten out of the hospital, she just has not been the same. Her personality is different. She's full of anxiety and completely different, and Leeds is starting to fall out of love with her. To rekindle that flame, Leeds books them a week to stay at the B&B where they met. So the B&B that they met at is actually on the market. It's for sale, and Leeds asks if he can just rent it for a short period of time, so he does. He rents the B&B and they go back, and Layla is still acting weird. It's not really helping their relationship, but as he's there, he starts to notice all this weird stuff starts happening, and he eventually finds out that it's because there's this ghost there named Willow. He starts communicating with Willow and talking to Willow, and he starts to kind of fall in love with Willow. At that part in the book, I was kind of like, what is going on? But as I kept reading, I was just getting more and more sucked in, and I absolutely loved this book. The ending was perfect. Everything about this book just blew me away, and so I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I loved Layla. Now, the second book that I read was also by Miss Colleen Hoover, and that would be November 9th. So I don't know if it's November 9th or November 9. I'm going to call it November 9th because I'm a teacher and that's more grammatically correct. Just when I thought it couldn't get better than Layla, I absolutely love this book as well. This story follows Benton and Fallon, and so November 9th becomes a very, very significant date in both of their lives. With Fallon, the book starts out that she is getting lunch with her dad at a diner. She talks about how she was in a house fire exactly 2 years before on November 9th that caused her to have scars all down her body. The whole left side of her body, I believe, is the side that she's super self-conscious about and has a ton of scars, and it's kind of ruined her acting career. So her dad is talking to her and telling her how he doesn't think she's going to make it as an actress and just being super, super mean to his daughter. And Benton happens to be in this restaurant. He comes up to her, pretends to be her boyfriend, and starts to boost her confidence. And they agree to meet every year on November 9th. So every single year on November 9th, they meet up, they catch up on their lives, and they have this instant connection and attraction to each other. So every year that they meet up, that spark is still there and they still love each other. There are so many twists and turns throughout this book, and I don't want to spoil it, but the ending, I didn't see it coming at all. I was completely blown away. And I love to be surprised at the end, so this twist totally blew me away. I didn't see it coming. I just can't emphasize how much I love this book. I love Benton's witty humor. I think he is hilarious. I love that Fallon has such character development over the years, and I just loved this book. Go read it. Do yourself a favor and go read it. This book, it is so up there. It is tied with The Love Hypothesis. These 2 are my favorite books, I think. So it's a toss-up. I can't tell you which one is my favorite, but this is definitely my favorite Colleen Hoover book, and I was just instantly in love with it. Needless to say, November 9th is 5 out of 5 stars, and potentially my favorite book. It's tied with Love Hypothesis. Now, the next book that I read was yet again Colleen Hoover. This book was called All You're Perfect. So I mainly chose this book because the cover is so pretty. I didn't really know what it was about until I read the back of it, and this book was just very, very depressing, to be honest with you. It's about this marriage between Quinn and Graham. And so the way the book works is it alternates between when they first met and fell in love and then where their marriage is at right now. So they are really, really struggling with infertility and their marriage is just falling apart. And so you alternate between seeing them fall in love and then seeing them fall apart and how they can try to get through it. So I felt like this book was so depressing the whole time. After reading November 9th and Layla, which was not depressing the whole time, I couldn't really relate to infertility, but it was very eye-opening to see the struggles and what it could bring about in a marriage. But this was something that wasn't very relatable to me and just felt so depressing the whole time. I got through it. It was a super quick read, but it was not my favorite read. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Now, the last book that I read was I was trying to stray away from romance, mainly just stray away from Colleen Hoover because I read so much of her this month, so I wanted to branch out. And one book that I keep seeing is The Silent Patient. Silent Patient is about this girl named Alicia Berenson, and the book opens up talking about the murder scene of her and her husband. So she shot and killed her husband and she hasn't spoken since that day. Instead of going to prison, they put her in a psychiatric unit, and this book is based in London. But this guy named Theo, he decides that he wants to go help her. And so he's a psychotherapist and he wants to go help her and have her understand why she did what she did and just get her to talk again. The story is all about Theo's background, Alicia's background, and then Theo going and meeting Alicia and trying to help her and uncover why she did what she did. The twist at the end, I'll admit, I did not see it coming and I thought it was a good twist, but I was expecting to be more shocked because of all the reviews and people raving about it. It wasn't that big of a twist, but it was still a good twist that kept my interest. I was able to read this book rather quickly. It only took me like 2 days to read this book. It was a very quick read and it definitely kept me intrigued the whole time. The thing I loved about this book, why I didn't rate it lower, is because I absolutely loved his style of writing. It was full of literary elements. There were so many similes and metaphors. There was so much symbolism, and I am a sucker for symbolism. So I just absolutely loved his writing style. Some people absolutely hate his writing style, which I found interesting, but I loved the style that this book was written in, and it was very short chapters, very matter of fact, just very easy to breeze through this book. The story itself could have been a little bit better, but I did overall really enjoy this book. So I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. If you have it or if it's been on your list, I'd recommend that you read it, but I would assume there would be better thrillers out there. I personally think Layla or Verity is a better thriller than this one, but it was still fun to read. I think that thriller and romance are my 2 big genres that I love, so I'm trying to find more thrillers, so if you have any recommendations, please let me know. Those are the 4 books that I read this month in November. Next is December. It's already December now if you're watching this video, so welcome December. I don't think that I want to read the cheesy December Christmas romance books. I tried that last year and it just kind of felt like a waste of time to me, to be honest. I could just go watch a Hallmark movie instead. I'm going to be trying to cross more books off of my list, so it's not going to be a very holiday themed book list this December, but I'm still really excited for all the books I'm going to have time to read over winter break. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it was a shorter one, but I just wanted to go over those 4 books that I read this month. I'm so excited to read more and share with you even more of what I read. So if you've been following along, thank you so much. I truly, truly appreciate it. Make sure to like and subscribe because that really, really helps me out. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.